this entire series. I also think Fnatic, respectively, has to just ban Orianna.
Are they going to switch out to Shen or not?
Right,
Not sure.
Last game you said it was fast pick bans. It goes to fast forward bans already there.
These are the same as they were previously.
Yep.
It all comes down to these last 2 bans. This is going to be the adaptation if we have any. What's it going to be? I mean, I feel like they should let Shen ride here. I feel like they should actually get rid of the Aatrox. Let's see what they do.
They're really thinking about it, though. They're really thinking about it.
Yeah, all the way down to that one. Is that Cyanide? It
Yeah.
was. They respect the Cyanide play. Taking it out now, it's up to Fnatic to say, do we give White Tori?
No.
I don't think
You can't.
They can't. They really can't.
No.
It's proven like entire. Yep, there we go. The ban comes out. We had to do it. We've seen Faker on it. We've seen Pecky on it. We've seen White on it now. It has to go out of the picture.
Too much
and the first
game-changing
pick Shen,
ability.
denying it from Soaz as well.
So right now, Royal had to make the call that they're putting Godlike on Shen, even though he's known as the best Renekton in the world and had so many lane advantages with him. He wasn't actually doing too well with Renekton against Zac, which might contribute to this switch up in their strategy. It's game 4. They still just need 1 more to win.
What I'm curious about now, actually, though, is Cyanide going to take the Elise out of Lucky's hands? He's been playing on it the last 3 games, very comfortable on it. Is Cyanide going to do it, or is he going to revert to that Lee Sin or that Jarvan that he's played a lot before as well?
In your experience, what is he best at?
I would say Cyanide is better at Jarvan. I think he actually prefers the Lee Sin. But he might just take out the Elise just to put Lucky out of his comfort zone and force him into this 4th game situation where he's not ready to play.
If I'm Royal right now, I would love it if Cyanide picked Lee Sin because they destroyed them in the first game and it would just give Lucky his Elise, which he's so comfortable on. We know in these best of 5s, if someone gets to play the same champion throughout the whole thing, they usually just wreck.
Interestingly, actually, seeing Cyanide pick up, or not Cyanide, sorry, Pecky picking up the Fizz straight away early again. It was a mistake before. Is it going to be a mistake again? We'll see.
And we see it coming through the first time. The Annie gets through. We do see that Pushu stays steady with his Varus, but the Annie now finally coming in for top.
I think Royal's pretty happy about this, and we see how with the bans that had to get changed up, immediately, that's why they were banned. Royal actually got to pick 2 things that had been banned throughout the entire set so far. That makes me feel like Royal is getting into their pre-semifinal comfort zone, but I wonder coming in this cold now, playing 3 games off of these champions, if it's going to affect them.
Well, interestingly, actually, I think it plays into Fnatic's hands a little bit. I think this Leona is a really good answer to this aggressive Annie bot lane. I think Yellow Star's played really exceptionally well in this Leona the past couple of games, and it is a good counter to Aryan lane. And there we go. Cyanide did actually default out to the Jarvan as we thought he would. It's actually Lucky and Cyanide both like Jarvan, but it's interesting to see. I think Elise is rated higher on Lucky than it is on Cyanide.
It's interesting. They leave Soaz last pick here coming in. He's been the same champion 3 times in a row.
They actually hovered over a Nasus pick, and I don't know if you remember, but back in Europe, Soaz played Nasus against us and absolutely dominated. He likes that kind of passive lane with his Shen. He can just farm up the Nasus, so he might go to that. We'll see.
I really need to see what Uzi decides to play here. If he goes Caitlyn, we're most likely seeing Royal 2v1ing mid. That's what they've generally done when they run Annie. They go for kills and dives very early on. And Peke on Fizz, it's not easy for Fizz to deal with 1v2s early on in the game. It would maybe even force him to the side lane. I think the Caitlyn is the smart pick here, but I would not be surprised if he went to Ezreal, just trying to dodge out of the Varus Leona since he got caught a fair bit in the last game.
You're definitely right. It looks like Royal might end up going to 2v1 Pecky mid. I don't see Pecky switching off early just because Leona's not that great in mid lane. She's better with a brush advantage from a side lane. And I think Fnatic very much want to force the 2v2 situation against the Annie. Whether they'll get it or not, we'll see. And also, Cyanide likes to babysit mid if it is a 2v1 situation.
Awesome.
I've seen Royal pick Kayle as a counter to Fizz before. They try to do it to just stop their assassination potential. And this means to me that Fnatic needs to have a second wave of people to come in. That's what Soaz has to do in this matchup, knowing that Whites is playing Kayle. That's very strong pick by Royal there.
It could essentially go for a cannon. It's possible. I'm not entirely sure. Is that Shyvana? That would be interesting.
I mean, Soaz could do so many different things. It's just he is very seemingly streaky with what he ends up picking.
He's an extremely versatile player, a vast champion pool. I wouldn't say he's a master of a particular champion. He just has a vast jack of all trades type of player. I don't see a Garen pick though. Don't tell me he's going to pick Garen. Come on, Soaz.
He's not going to pick.
18 seconds left on that clock. Definitely not in need of crowd control. They found that in the team. He's usually used to that Soaz top lane. Used to that Zac top lane, but it could be right about that. Kennen, a little bit more lockdown and crowd control from a team that, you know, can almost be seen as every 5 minutes the Flash Annie engage. So switching back and forth, they're going to have impact here.
Switching out the Rumble is actually quite a good idea. If he gets the one-on-one against Shen, he'll start winning that lane later on, so it's a really good idea for the laning phase especially, which is something that Fnatic struggled on. But Soaz has been stepping up actually. Him against Godlike in that top lane has been in Soaz's favor most of the game so far. So that's an interesting point. I wonder how this bot lane is going to go, because it looks like Royal is going to go, or White is going to go 1v1 with Peke in the mid lane. I think it's all going to be about this bot lane and seeing the Annie support works off, or the Leona does actually counter it or not. I think that's going to be very integral.
I feel like Royal would actually have a disadvantage in a 2v2 lane if Leona can catch anything onto Tabe. Annie is basically a sitting duck unless I feel like she has an advantage. But knowing how dominant Royal's bottom lane has been, you're right about it's going to be a very decisive point in this matchup, because if that Annie lane starts falling behind, I feel like Fnatic would roll through, since Pushu's been the main struggle for Fnatic thus far.
Yeah, I think we even see Cyanide looking to make some early plays on that bot lane as well, just try and make something happen there early, because if they can get it snowballing, I think Leona Varus is just going to carry that lane, and the Annie as well just going to fall behind a bit too much.
So how do you feel with Royal, or rather with Fnatic coming into the last match? Like I said, a bread and butter comp to just win it with one death. Can they do it again?
I'm a little bit curious to see. I'm skeptical of the Fizz, because we didn't have a strong Fizz game from Peke before. He doesn't have that Orianna this time. Can he actually keep up in the lane with White? That's a big concern for me in this game. I hope he does. I mean, if we can get to a 5th game, that would be absolutely phenomenal. But I'm really curious to see if he can keep up that lane and how this bot lane actually pans out now that we've actually got the Annie into the game.
So we got Lucky coming in again on Elise. Comfort for their team. It's not something that they wanted to ban out. Puju trying to go for Varus once again. Do they want to match that lane up in the 2v2?
Fnatic definitely want the 2v2 situation, yes.
I absolutely feel like this is really the start of the true series, because we've already seen Fnatic adapt once. It's a matter of Royal can counter.
All right, gentlemen. Once again, Snoopy, it's been a pleasure. If Fnatic can make it 2 wins in a row, we'll see you for Game 5. As we jump onto the Rift, D-Man, where are they headed?
Where are they headed indeed? We've had 3 level 1 engages. 2 of them have been absolutely bonkers, insane, crazy engages with no deaths. One of them was a 3v1, 3-for-1 in Royal's favor. Do Fnatic want to push into this against the Shen? I don't think so.
They love running into each other, but Fnatic is actually spread out this time, not asking for this, because they know Tabe charges up his Annie stun, AoE stun at level 1, and a taunt. Royal would wreck Fnatic in a team fight if they were to catch each other.
We have seen him lock it down before. See that blue pot, actually, not blue pot, sorry, mana pot coming out for Tabe in the bottom lane, so he can be aggressive. They can get that kill bot lane going down. And right now, looks like they're going to flex some muscles and see what they can find on a treasure hunt.
And with the aggression that Royal know that they have, they know they can dominate the level 1 fight. Do they try and push the advantages? Do they try and take away the resources of Fnatic? Fnatic, you see, have got a lot of ward coverage on that blue buff. They were expecting to lose their own blue.
1 minute and 20 in. Still just the safety pings going down. By now, one of the teams sets themselves up. Yellow Star forced a flash there, and he gets just off the edge of that flash taunt.
That was extremely dangerous right there by Yellow Star. They're just trying to play this level 1 defensively. If they can get away from this level 1 with only losing that flash, it may even be totally fine for them.
Well, Yellow Star, without that flash, may be one of the targets of Lucky. Lucky on Elise. And I was surprised that actually Fnatic didn't go for Elise, because it has been one of Soaz's top champions throughout the last 2 seasons of the European LCS, but instead he's gone to Lucky. Lucky himself did not have a good game on Elise last match. He has repelled away from some of those excellent ganks, but this time around Fnatic have chose a very different team comp, and I have not seen Rumble for Soaz in a very long time.
No, but the thing that we need to focus on is the 2v1 in the mid lane. Tabe and Uzi against Pushu and Yellowstar, so they're matching a 2-for-2, and this actually makes it so Peke has to top lane on Fizz, which is extremely dangerous. There's going to be a lot of action focused in that mid lane as Tabe and Uzi try and dominate.
There's a different lane Rumble Kale will have to keep eyes on, and a very good move here fight by Fnatic with some aggression on Peke top lane, getting that reduction on the taunt damage, and he really can't fight back.
Not this early on, and you can see he's already fell that level behind.
Yeah.
He did start off with that Shadow Dash. Cyanide now with the double buffs. We'll see whether he creates any play, and as always, as we've seen throughout this series so far, Royal are shoving Pushu and Yellowstar up against that tower, keeping them constantly up there. Tabe with that stun ready and waiting to go at any given moment. Yellowstar has engaged a number of times before. Tower hit from White's there.
And every one of these lanes for Fnatic is losing early because they're getting shoved in hard, but not only that, they're taking a lot of harass, which is a fault that Fnatic had in game 2 and 1 when they were getting decimated in the lanes. They have to find a way to almost play more passively and then punish Lucky when he makes moves like this.
Looks like we might get a tango in the jungle here. There has to be calls going on the comms saying Yellowstar's left lane. Tabe, you need to come up as well to stun to stop the initiation.
Thought about continuing on Lucky there. Does get away with that though. That's actually bought them a little bit of time in that mid lane, but you talked about it already. 18-6 already in that duo lane. The AD carries, massive, massive differences already starting to build up. We saw Pushu already missing out the siege minion, so the gold is sliding massively in favor of Uzi already.
It's not even working as well for Godlike to Soaz. Rather, first Soaz 18-6 there, 20-9 between the mid laners who aren't matched up, but need that same power spike towards that mid portion of the game. Royal doing what they have every game so far. Last game we did see that Fnatic was able to break that trend though.
And you can see Royals trying even harder to pull off aggression. This is the only way they play, so the more you play passively, the more aggressive they become.
Tabe desperately wants to land that stun, wants to lock down Pushu or Yellowstar. No flash for Yellowstar still, remember, which is why they're really being defensive here, but Royal already coming around the jungle, taking everything away, making sure Cyanide's on his back foot.
Royal loves diving the mid turret from behind there with Lucky coming in, which is why Cyanide is actually mirroring him, and I think Lucky's somewhat predicting this to happen.
They are holding the wargs, pinging it down as well, getting ready, he gets on a Tabe, that's going to be a very low HP Tabe, and a dead one at that, and they walk around the cupcake to get out.
Fnatic once again read what Royal was trying to do. The reason Tabe was that far up is he was looking for a stun so Lucky could come and gank. Cyanide was on the other side, killed him first. We knew Tabe's Annie was vulnerable if he got caught by Yellowstar's Leona, and that's why Fnatic got first blood.
Big burst of damage, and the kill, of course, going to this time Yellowstar. Not ideal, but nevertheless, it was an assist gold, and it's the assist gold that Pushu needs because, again, he's falling behind. Look at this, though, bottom lane. Gonna get that flame spitter going. Tower hit landing on White.
Yep.
That's gonna cause him problems. Cyanide gets the kill.
Another one on the Yellowstar.
Uzi going down in mid. He gets out. The Ignite is down. Oh, it follows him all the way home. Lucky's in the middle, trying to get to Yellowstar, but he's dancing in between the minions. Royal dances it better, and Puzu's looking for the last piercing arrow.
Can he get that snipe? He's got to back away.
Oh no, Tabe's back already.
Oh, the Cocoon lands from long range. Fantastic stuff.
God.
Incoming round the side, though. Cyanide's closing on towards Lucky. Should be able to get the lock up. There he is. Stands on the trap. I don't believe. Is he going to get the Dragon Strike off? No, he doesn't have the range, and Lucky lives.
Absolute madness erupts right here in the mid lane. Cyanide stepping on the delicious cupcake when he comes in. Let's see where the kills actually went, though. Cyanide again picked up the early kills, and this finish by Lucky was so clutch. Pushu did not have the cooldown or the mana, I think, for the piercing arrow, and Tabe aggressively comes up. That's the Ignite Annie. Lucky sticking around to get the stun, and then Tabe continued his defensive play. Jarvan would have continued on to finishing off Lucky if Tabe wouldn't have put damage on him. The fact that he used his jump to the spider to dodge the last bit of damage by Cyanide completely saved his life.
Whew, so close, that Jarvan shield. Doing a bit more. If more people were there, he might have gotten the kill, but it's not going to be the way it crumbled. Uzi now picking up some good lead here, 50-20 on that CS, as we have seen before.
Lane changes coming out now. Fnatic forcing it to swap up here. Not too sure who this is going to work in favor of, but the Dragon is being started off very early from Royal Club.
And this could be very strong for them. There was a 7-minute Dragon pulled off by Fnatic in the last match that worked. This time Royal's the one who swapped forward early, and unless there's a miracle, they got this one. Yep, they got it.
Close piercing arrow to come through. A very nice equalizer. He lays down the red carpet for Expected Answer. He does come in from the side. Whites is going very low, but he gets assistance from his buddy Lucky. Coming in very hard here. Pushu getting hit up, but he's put himself in the fire.
He does get the kill, but more importantly, so many members of Fnatic hadn't hit level 6 yet, whereas Royal Club had, and none of the ultimates are available. Soaz is the only one that was 6 in that fight. Peke still hasn't got that Earth available.
So it is just the 1-for-1, meaning Dragon for Royal. Good job by them. Because Godlike was able to join that fight, and because Cyanide was so late to the party, it meant that most of Royal could escape. But every single flash on Royal is down now. Since they were in the Dragon Pit, they basically all used flash to get outside, meaning Cyanide does have an opportunity to pull off some kills once he hits 6 with that Cataclysm to really lock someone down.
Go ahead and take stock of these inventories once again. Both of the top laners that we have just going back. Can say, ooh, onto Uzi. They're going to throw down that Chum the Waters.
Here's Peke, he's going to get locked back up though. Ace in the hole! Straight on Peke, and that is a bad turnaround. He'd only just picked that blue buff up.
And he'd only just hit level 6 as well. The passive play, waiting for Royal to engage, is what granted Fnatic their first victory of the series and extended it. But when Peke makes overly aggressive moves like that, really laying into Tabe's passive Annie, who was there for the stun, it just backfires terribly. And now they're in danger of a turret dive.
Cyanide getting hit up. They actually catch him, but the turret's still there to do damage. Gets himself out with the flag and drag, but is forced to flash here. Royal starting to dictate this game a little bit, and we're not even 10 minutes in. Middle turret drops.
Middle turret down. So first one of the game as well for Royal Club, and that means it's a 2,000 gold lead. And every time they've took that big lead in the early phase, it has gone heavily in their favor. Look at the CS once again. 80 carries. Uzi doubling the CS of Pushu. So as lingering around, they might try and set a trap for Godlike.
Little fog of war trick coming in here. Godlike with a taunt over the wall, but he's gonna do it right on the equalizer.
Whoa.
They eat it back in. Peke makes the wall, and he also makes a clean kill on a Godlike.
Beautiful shot there by Soaz, using his vector targeting on his equalizer to just punish Godlike over the wall. And Peke's roam needs to come in strong more often. He's already lost that middle turret, so if he's not roaming and making plays, Fnatic is not winning this game and they're not moving on to the finals.
So Fnatic trying to go aggressive on this top lane, but Uzi and Tabe already here. So Fnatic will back away from that one. They need to get Peke rolling. Remember, he went 17-1-3 on Fizz in the group stage. Can he get going again? That's the question. Or Will Whites, who has been there so many times with that ultimate, the intervention, that could play a big part in it later on. And Pushu, 2-2-1. The kills are basically what keeps him in it as the AD carry so far. They've got to keep gifting them to them, but that's going to take it away from Peke.
See the gold on the board, 3,600 gold coming in for Uzi. He's pretty much maxing anybody out on the board by 800 gold. So a focus having that Caitlyn there.
Ooh.
Get into lanes and push. Peke again gets caught in a
Counterattack.
2v1
Bam.
situation. Cyanide to enter the fight.
Well, Cyanide may well get the kill on Uzi. That's the AD carry going down, and now he's onto a support, but that's a support with flames and a big teddy bear, and he will get the kill.
Meanwhile, in the bottom,
lane.
this game is just absolutely crazy. The support's making aggressive plays in the 2v2 situations. Tabe's support Annie, we can see why it's been banned throughout a lot of this World Championship. His stuns are really locking down Peke's Fizz.
Don't have to worry about the damage if your team's going to follow up with it. Tabe has been in the right spot at the right time for his team. White's still left to fend off in this bottom lane by himself, and he has kept that CS up. He actually is higher CS than anybody on Fnatic's team, and we can just see how aggressive they are in these dives.
Yeah, and it was just the lockdown. Even though White's put the intervention onto Elise, Pushu and Yellowstar waited to burst the majority of their damage since they already had him locked down, and it was not very lucky for Lucky.
Yeah, the Ignite finishing off for Yellowstar there. Pushu needed that kill, didn't get it. We'll see how it works out for them, because so far Uzi and Tabe creating plays every step of the way, and a 3-1-1 Tabe on Annie has already got that Ruby Sightstone completed, but got to give credit to Yellowstar and Leona playing another fantastic game. Fnatic once again revolving round. They're going to go aggressive on the blue buff here.
And it is just Royal also trying to take what is theirs since they've taken the mid turret, which is often the most important turret when you're trying to roam around. And it cannot go without mentioning what an exceptional job Uzi and Tabe have been doing. These are not normal CS differentials in the bottom lane, especially against Pushu, has been playing so amazingly throughout this entire World Championships. 4 games in a row now, Uzi already 30 CS up on Pushu.
And usually when you see that AD support take the mid, they stay mid. Now they're controlling the buffs. That's exactly what you get out of that, and nobody's really going to be able to stop them.
Yeah, and Yellowstar is in a terrible spot right now as far as his safety is concerned.
Yeah, he's going to run away from that with the double buff, by the way. Osei is going to run away from it. He sticks around, doesn't want to stay there too long, because 4 members of Royal are going to collapse on this turret. And again, objectives, Royal Club, just keep pushing them towers down.
And that's kind of a textbook example on why the mid turret is more important than the other ones, is because instead of Royal having to run through the lanes, giving Fnatic time to filter down towards the lane, they went through the jungle, which actually cut off Fnatic's support routes to that other turret, and it's secured the second turret of the game for Royal.
Looks like Soaz has started to win this 1v1 in the top lane. He didn't do much damage to Godlike, but he is not trading. They're going to take this turret down, and there are a lot of pings going down in that bottom jungle.
Yeah, they're keeping the pressure on this top turret. Soaz has actually been keeping that flame spitter ready and waiting to go. Pushu trying to get the steal, not going to happen. Whites gets the blue buff. It buys Peke a little bit of time in that mid lane, but he's going to make tracks. 4 members of Royal Club on the Dragon.
Something that really works in Royal's favor here is the fact that Soaz cannot interrupt godlike stand united. So it means this Dragon is completely uncontestable by Fnatic, and it only grows Royal's lead.
Actually, godlike just going back to get some wolves or whatever he did for himself. Comes back to lane without losing the turret, so they hold that strong, as well as get themselves down to the bottom side and steal away blue. So Royal controlling both sides of the map here. Bottom turrets are down, but all the focus is into mid now, already at 13 minutes.
Royal Club in full control right now. This is their game. They know they're 2-1 up. They have full advantage, and honestly, so far, once again, coming out of the lane phase, they do have that edge. And every time so far, Fnatic have tried to make it a little bit chaotic, but Jat, as we start to move to the mid game, which you can see Royal Club are pushing for as quickly as possible, how are Fnatic going to shape up against them?
So normally you would say the team with the Rumble would try and force mid-game Dragon fights, but the Dragon was just down, and by the time 20 minutes comes up, that's effectively late game for Royal. So now Fnatic needs to make more aggressive plays. Peke individually needs to go around and help the rest of the team. He doesn't have teleport. 4th game in a row, Fnatic hasn't ran with teleport, even though it's one of the big things that got them here. And they actually have to find Uzi when he's not near Whites.
Oh, Lucky getting caught up in the top lane. The Cataclysm goes down the repel. Should leave him in range for some good damage. He ignites there with the equalizer. It's going to continue, but a new challenger arrives as Soaz makes his way out of the bush.
He's going to have the flag and drag. He goes in on towards Tabe. Here comes Yellowstar, piercing out from Pushu from long range. Now they're going towards Godlike. He's in all sorts of trouble. Uzi's just off of the side. Chain of Corruption lands perfectly from Pushu, gets himself the double kill.
That's the Fnatic special right there. They pick up more kills in a roaming situation, whereas Peke has to run away from Whites.
He has used the flash as the heal there for Whites to get the speed up. It is now he flashes in range, but he does not get it.
Close stuff. Fnatic going to keep all the pressure on this top lane turret. This will be Fnatic's first turret of the game, and Uzi just getting a little close, trying to avoid those harpoons. They're going to let the minions take down the turret. Uzi won't be able to stop that one. They may try and rotate around on it, but let's check this fight out.
Yeah, this was a lockdown onto Lucky, and they saw the Shen shield coming up, but they knew they blew through it. So Soaz put down the equalizer, the only place Lucky could have landed. At this point, it's just Fnatic getting to the point faster than Royal. Even though Godlike flashed in, it was Yellowstar and Pushu who then came in to finish it up. And it was very timely skill shots as well. Pushu landed that Chain of Corruption right as Godlike was taunting to guarantee that lockdown, and it meant Uzi, even with all his farm, could never get involved in the fight.
And look at the difference. Once again, Pushu falls way behind in farm, but gets the kills. 4-2-2. Varus, we said it in the last match, seems to be the champion of choice, so he seems to have found that works against Uzi. Yellowstar in trouble.
That's going to be a slow. The Oracle won't go down, but Yellowstar will. They actually use quite a bit for that.
They did use quite a bit, but that means the time that Yellowstar's oracles is ticking is greatly diminished, and it also means Royal gets to try and dive.
Soaz just about sidestepping, equalizer going down. They want to fight this one. Intervention used on Godlike already. That's going to be the equalizer doing a lot of damage just over the side. Godlike goes down. Pushu comes back in. It's Cyanide that picks up the kill. Soaz does go down. It's still a 2-for-1 trade to Royal.
Yeah, but Peke was nowhere near. Considering the numbers advantage that Royal had, they really did not get that much out of this one. The question is, will they continue to dive? Because Fnatic is dangerously defending, even re-engaging with 2 people.
Cyanide trying to hold him there. Peke's just on the outside wing. There's a Chain of Corruption leading into Chum the Waters. Can Peke make it in time? They get the first kill even without him, but it looks like they will be able to secure Lucky.
Tabe going down, Lucky now in source of trouble. They're going to slide in. That's the Urchin Strike. Playful Trickster's going to be available. Cyanide's going to have the flag and drag. Will they use it? Peke takes it with the Ignite.
And the turret didn't even go down. It is at a sliver of 27 health right now. That means the global gold does not swing. That's effectively what Tabe was suiciding himself for by sticking around. Did not pay off, means Fnatic is back in this game now. Just like the story of the rest of the series, they are up in kills, but down in farm. Let's see round 4 play out.
13-9 on the clock for your score. Or, yeah, near the clock. 17:38 on the clock, 25,000 gold. It's only a 500 gold deficit right now coming in for Fnatic. This game is anybody's still. Fnatic has pretty much gone through a learning process of what Royal does, how they rotate, and how they do things. And within 4 games, they've pretty much brought it back to right at even.
They're punishing every time Royal tries to mob up because they are making it to the fights even without the teleports.
Well, every time, you know, we focused a lot on the fact that Uzi has been dominating that CS, and he has. But we haven't really talked about the fact that Soaz has pulled a 40 CS leader over Godlike. Godlike, obviously, on the Shen, he needs to be split pushing. That's what he does. He'll come into the fights late. But it's getting to the point where I'm not sure he can start fighting against Soaz now.
It might get to that point. You can see he's went incredibly defensive with the Spirit Visage, and we know that in order to shut down Shen split push, you aggressively attack him. And Fnatic just goes right for White.
Out of nowhere, coming in with the equalizer. Not many people able to follow up on it, though, and the Chum the Waters to disengage.
It's a lot of shields coming in from Whites right there. They burned the big two, Intervention and Stand United, 30 seconds before this Dragon fight comes down. Fnatic needs to have an eye for these timers. They burned so many ultimates, and they had just crawled back in the global golden objective game. They're already down 3 turrets, which might mean they can't even defend this Dragon. They're all going back to shop.
Yeah, they can't fight this one, Royal Club, with the timers perfect. 15 seconds, as you mentioned, 3 ultimates were used in that last fight. By the time they get back, we'd say, oh, running back to now to this Dragon. I think they're going to be a little bit too late. Royal Club will take this one down pretty quickly with Lucky and Uzi.
Really wondering if Fnatic was going to try and go for a fight here, because this is becoming an issue right here for Fnatic. They have lost control with the 3 turrets, and with burning all those ultimates onto Whites, I think it's a very bad sign for the rest of this game if they can't close in and get kills. When they make catches like that, we could very well see a fight in the mid lane if Soaz can move down, as Royal is going to try and push mid.
A lot of pings coming down from Royal here. There is the taunt going in with the flash as well. Cyanide gets hit up quite well, and the Tibbers is there. Fnatic has seen the strength right now of Royal, and they may re-engage.
Piercing arrow, Chum the Water sliding through. Intervention's going to be enough to save him, and Peke gets dropped straight away. Chain of Corruption's going to hit everyone, though.
Equalizer's on.
Sliding in. They're going to catch on towards Uzi. There's going to be Equalizer on towards White. White is backing away from this one, but the flame sprint from Soaz is going to continue chasing Harpoons. White's desperately turned this one back around, and everybody's backed off.
Still just a 1-for-1. These team fights are so crazy. Fnatic is arguably the best team fighting team in Europe, and Royal's the best team fighting team in China. They know when and how to disengage. Even though Soaz's equalizer came up right at the end of that fight, he could not land a good one. I thought it was going to swing the fight, but it turns out Royal gets away with one.
Still keeps the gold close within 2,000. We're 20 minutes in. So many things have happened at this mark in the game. Barons were taken in game 1. Barons were taken 5 minutes later in game 2. Right now, these teams can't really figure out how to get past each other's defenses. 14-10, like I said, that 2,000 gold lead, and only the turrets right now stand in favor of Royal.
One thing I want to realize, though, that now that, of course, Fizz has started to get going from Peke here, he's got that Lich Bane on, he's going to start building it up. A big, strong Fizz can be deadly, and especially with a juicy target like Tabe on Annie.
The most interesting thing about this, though, is White's Kale pick, because normally Fizz is the hyper carry assassin who can just go in one shot. But if White's plays his cards right and blocks Peke's assassination attempts, it could basically just be a dead Peke when he goes and flies in. There is so much play and outplay potential in that Kale versus Fizz matchup that it effectively negates Peke's hyper carry potential if White's plays well.
Well, we saw that Legolas build from Poshu before. It is the Bloodthirster and Last Whisper, but you can see that Uzi has gone the exact same route, but he's ahead. He's got that Zeal in there, dancing, backing Soaz. Let's see what he comes out with. He's been sat on a lot of gold. I think it's going to be an Abyssal to go in with that. When it go to the Andrews, maybe he's just going to shove straight for it. See which way he turns it. He's built up a big difference still with Godlike continuing to do that. Godlike himself seems to be going for the Trinity Force.
It's a bit of an odd decision. It shows you he's not fearing Soaz's offensive capabilities. I feel like he should be fearing more of Peke's roaming Fizz if Godlike wants to actually put on a split push show.
Hey.
I really need to see what Uzi's going to do later in this game too, because his Cleanse Caitlyn, if this game keeps stretching, and if it does stretch, I don't know if Fnatic has the ability to take him out.
We do have the push in the bottom lane trying to come out from Godlike, but there's no Sunfire Cape there as we were just talking, so it's a bit slower. He is giving Soaz a bit of respect, but staying on the outside. The Stand United allows him to help his team. It looks like they have Fnatic a bit spread, but it's also a pincer if Fnatic can make it happen.
And we talked about this with the fact that they do have the Shen, they have the Stand United, they do not have a teleport Fnatic. So while Soaz may be down there, or Peke may be down there, oh, look at that one hit in the face. That hurt Peke.
But with Soaz roaming up, they're limited time to engage, and Fnatic wants to find a fight, which is why Royal is running away.
White's in the bush, waiting with Uzi, giving him protection. You'll probably see that intervention onto him. The Chum the Waters is in the eyes of White. He's trying to figure out who he needs to save. that interaction is going to be huge in this next fight.
This is an incredibly pivotal point of the game because Godlike is making his split push play. There are already 3 turrets down on Fnatic's side, and they do not have a real answer for Godlike Shen. So it's giving Royal all this pseudo control over the Baron area. Unless Fnatic can catch the right kind of fight, Royal will slowly starve out Fnatic and extend this already 2,000 gold lead.
This blue buff may be the play. You see Peke coming in. There is a ward coverage there. Maybe they're going to go for whites, or maybe Peke is going to have to get out of this one. Does manage to use that playful trickster to back out. They're going to go in towards this blue. He wants to get on towards the intervention's already been used.
This throw down the Chum the Waters, it was not hitting anyone. Big damage coming out of the white, and they take him down. Cyanide locks up 2. Godlike tries to stay in, and they're looking for Uzi. The cleanse goes out, and he's able to turn the fight around. But will they be able to follow? Cyanide gets onto Uzi, gets the hit, gets the rip up, but Uzi lifesteals. He lifesteals it back and finally goes down.
Finally gets locked in. Tabe's going to be next. He hasn't got a stun available. He's going to get picked off as well. It's going to be finally Peke that gets the kill. What a fight.
Despite the incredible kiting of Uzi, he still goes down as a 3-for-1 fight for Fnatic, and Fnatic catches another fight in their favor. Uzi actually walked into a Churn the Waters near the end of that. Fnatic's trying to take some turrets back for themselves.
And they do get it. A little game of cat and mouse there. It seems like Godlike knew the time he had. And let's just watch this engage.
Yeah, so White's intervention was burned once, and then despite the shields, Fnatic really wanted him down. And now that it was mainly just Uzi as a second damage threat, everyone on Fnatic was running him down because the damage threat from the rest of Royal, who's off on the bottom left, was non-existent. And then these plays right there, getting the headshot lifesteal, getting the hit after hit, and then Soaz through the wall with the Electro Harpoon is the only thing that finished him off. Otherwise, Uzi would have lived maybe another day. The rest of Fnatic would have
I think he may have taken Cyanide down as well. I know about Lift. He looked like he was in desperate trouble. Cyanide was already turning around thinking, I've made a terrible mistake. I need to back away from this one. Lucky getting caught with that piercing arrow. Big damage coming out and aggression from Fnatic. Finally turning. You talked about that maybe was the turning point. Still the gold is in favor of Royal Club, and Dragon, it's up in 5 seconds.
The game has absolutely not turned yet because this is another classic situation of Fnatic being up in kills, but Royal having the map pressure and the farm advantage. So if Royal gets that one team fight, it's over. They would just push down and potentially end the Nexus like they have in the previous games, whereas Fnatic has to continue to play like this. Fnatic has to get fight after fight to claw their way back in this game.
Moving down to the bottom, both of these teams are just organizing themselves together. They're either on the bottom side of the map or the top side of the map. There's no split pushing going on right now. It's the Dragon.
It's the Dragon, and this is the first time that Fnatic have started the engagement. So they're feeling a little bit confident this time around. They have good vision control.
Tabe's Flash Timbers is up!
There it goes, the solar flare goes down, they get into the fight, Godlike is in the middle. Tabe throws down that Timbers, but is it going to be enough damage? The health bars of Royal are just dropping.
Uzi getting focused on around the side. This time you're going to see he's going to get claps on, but Royal Gaming coming out on top here. That's a good equalizer. They finally lock him down. Peke running for his life in the background. Pushu does pick up the double kill. It's a 3-for-1 so far. And Fnatic with the Dragon to continue it.
They keep going for whites. Will they be able to catch him down here, though? Level 10, level 14 versus a 15 and a 14. Beautiful dodge on Zenith Blade. Whites has the health speed up. Who's he going to give it to? They turn around to fight. They're able to take down Whites. Godlike is there, and he is not just that. He is dead.
Fnatic, with their mobility, chases down the total ace for that one. 22 kills to 12 right here. But the craziest thing about that entire fight, Riv, Tabe got the Dragon with his Tibbers. It means the goal lead is still not in Fnatic's favor, and they have to win so many more fights to win this game.
That will be the turret. That's going to be 3-3. That's the first inner turret of the game picked up for Fnatic. Let's check out this crazy match.
Yeah, Tabe initiated this fight beautifully. Yellow Star actually was trying to lock Tabe down pre-flash, and that's why it ended up whiffing. But then Peke, perfect play onto Uzi, taking him out of the fight. You can see all of Fnatic's main ultimates are focused on Uzi. The Equalizer, the Churn the Waters, and the Cataclysm, all for that. Then Peke doing his best Houdini act to get out of that one alive, and Fnatic ended up getting a 5-for-1.
That was really great by Cyanide to just put that Cataclysm down on the Equalizer. So much damage that he had.
And the Zhonya's Hourglass being built up by Peke. Once he gets that in there, he's going to be a lot more confident in his plays. We've already seen him dive it in a little bit suicidal, as it were, a few times. Once that's in there, I expect to see them all piling in. Also, Void Staff now, the Brilous Crystal Scepter being completed by Soaz. So Soaz he is becoming a beast.
Yeah, and he's going slightly tankier as far as his Rumble build goes. The health from the Rylai's, the magic resistance from the Abyssal, and I think he's going to be going Zhonya's next because he's the one who is trying to turn himself into a bulldozer in some of these fights and be another threat onto Uzi.
We always see Royal continuing to put the pink wards out. They're now in the hands of Fnatic, respecting that role and game style as well. See what they have here. We do have a huge Pushu at 8-2 and 8 coming into this game, and we've said it before, he could be down 100 CS, but he will get the kills.
Yeah, whether they're giving it to him or whether he's taking them with that
Exactly.
piercing arrow, I'm not too sure, but it is working very well for him. And in terms of gold, I'd love to see how close it is between those two. You can see, look at that, big numbers for those two AD carries, 11,400 to 10,700. So despite the fact he's 8-8, he's still behind because he's almost, building up to 80 CS behind.
It is such a difficult matchup for Pushu to be in because he is getting absolutely decimated in farm in the lane, but because of the way Fnatic plays and the way Peke and Soaz are doing so much work for him in team fights, he's getting a lot of the gold back just by playing that Legolos build. He sits way in the back and fires in the piercing arrows with incredible accuracy. It's the thing that's keeping him and a lot of Fnatic in this game.
Interesting, always sending Peke down to be the one to split push here, having some of the most damage to bring into this next fight, but Royal does not take that into consideration just yet. They feel safe staying back, laying down the pink wards. Yellow now about to clean those up with his mop, and he's going to get himself back to fight.
And Godlike is trying to set up split push once again. You can see he actually stopped going for his Trinity Force more into defense because he needed it in these fights. This means Fnatic should be looking for a fight. They do not want to let Godlike split push get going, and Fnatic has won many fights in a row. So if they catch one, it could be huge.
Chum the Waters out, but he gets repelled out as well as the equalizer. Fnatic missing two ultimates. They're going to have the turnaround. Tibbers goes down. It's a good solar flare. They're going to lock into on Tabak.
Yellowstar trying to get out of the fight. Whites is in the middle too, and the Cataclysm goes down again on two people.
Whoa.
Whites' intervention kind of just sat there, and he goes down after. Double kill coming in for Peke as he also falls during the fight, and that's a shutdown for Whites.
Goes to show how much initiation Fnatic has because they missed their first round, but they hit their second.
Uzi's still alive. He's the only man keeping this tower alive. Fnatic desperately want it. They managed to catch the slow on him. They don't get that game. The harpoon coming out from Soaz not quite finding its target, but Fnatic, they're going to get an objective off that fight. They're going to get the middle turret.
Another fight, another objective there for Fnatic. They are winning one after the other. Even though that one didn't seem the most clean, they're going to keep pushing here. It's really on Uzi to try and carry this one because he is getting focused so hard.
Uzi coming back around the side. They're trying to just get a quick pick onto Pushu there. Always trying to create something for themselves. This time, they're just going to be forced to farm it out.
So, we talked about it earlier, the Zhonya's Hourglass was picked up by Peke, and that really was Peke just going full on aggression. He picked up 2 kills in it, worked out well for him in a game. Now we see Rabadon's Death Gap, that will be next. The damage is starting to ramp up heavily for Peke here.
And we've seen Royal rush the Baron as well. They kind of feel like they have to do this right now. Royal is not the type of team to wait around, and the intervention from Whites is not working that well for him because there are so many rounds of initiation by Fnatic. Just the one is not enough.
Soaz is very
Here's
low
another.
if they choose to fight this. Yellowstar deep into the fight. Godlike goes in as well. Gets the taunt onto Yellowstar only. They do come up with the 1 kill they need, but very low. Godlike trying to get out. Whites goes down as well. Fnatic's going to continue.
Zhonya's Hourglass was used and burnt, and well, Royal going to turn this one around. Soaz is going to get the target. Uzi is not getting focused, but there he is. Pushu gets on towards him. Tabe going to be next. The ace will come out, and the quadra kill for Pushu.
13-2 on Varus right now. It came down to a duel between him and Uzi. Who is going to win? It's the Varus right now, and Fnatic, that's got to be the 5th or 6th fight in a row they have won. Another turret.
The man down almost 100 CS continues to be one of the last men standing in the fight. One with the most kills for his team, now to take inhibitor turrets alone by himself as Cyanide backs. He will be carrying this 32-minute mark.
And you mentioned it, Royal, they thought about going for Baron, but Fnatic had other ideas. They've managed to start and get themselves in a very good position here. but check this fight.
This fight was so absolutely insane. It's why there were kills back and forth. But right now, Peke actually focuses on a tank. While he had intervention on, that threw him off. He then Zonya's, but that pulled Uzi into a dangerous situation. He had no retreat there. He used his net, and even his cleanse wasn't enough to keep him alive. Pushu had the combo. Shot arrow was enough burst to finish down Uzi after Peke had put him into a bad position.
That had to have felt good for Pushu, I feel, through the horrible lanes that he's had. 4 games running to just turn around and pull that arrow straight into Uzi's face, knowing he had no escape from it this time around. It does give him that giant kill score of 13-11. Peke trying to get on Uzi there, he realizing dangerous situation, trying to back out of it. But Uzi, let's get clear, he's got cleanse up in a moment, he's got that QSS, he's got the flash, he's got so much mobility.
And here's the craziest thing about this game. Even though Fnatic has 30 kills, and I know I'm harping on it because they've won so many team fights, if Royal wins 1, the game could be over. If Whites and Uzi and Godlike to tank turrets are up after fight, they could take it and win the entire game, which is why Fnatic is not giving an inch. They're trying to keep Royal pushed as far back as possible, and they're just fighting again and again, because if Royal could somehow catch Fnatic out of position, they could punish really hard. But because Royal's fighting back so heavily in these fights, Fnatic hasn't been able to end the game either. This game is absolutely insane.
Kind of hard to do things when you're limping away from the fight. We saw it was really only Pushu able to push a turret last time after the fight. Cyanide said, I'm out of here. But right now, you gotta remember that Pushu came into this game saying, you know, if Uzi's gonna make a play, he's gonna get that recommendation for it. People are gonna notice. I think people are gonna start noticing Pushu now. 13-2-11, coming out strong, doubling up on Varus, and finding that bread and butter for himself.
And let's not forget, this is a guy fighting for his place in the team.
Yep.
He's got a 16-year-old phenom that's just turned 17, sat ready and waiting to replace him. He's looking at a minimum 3rd place in the World Finals right now. I think he's deserved that position so far. We'll see how far he can go with it.
Absolutely.
The static shift just been completed. Meanwhile, obviously, Phantom Dancer was picked up by Uzi a long time ago. Big damage going to be coming out from Navarus in the next fight.
And the biggest item completion that just happened is Peke finished Rabadon's death cap. He's already almost one-shotting people. This makes the mini-game between Whites and Peke even larger.
But they've managed to lock up. That's going to be the Solar Flare, though, turning it around. Tabby does get the kill on Cyanide. Soaz is getting locked up and going to go down. Fnatic have to back out of this fight. Yellowstar's taking that damage. Asen holding so much. Peke comes in, gets on towards White.
Peke goes down in a second. You see White on the board twice there, a kill and a death. Uzi comes up big. They shut him down. Yellowstar's out of this one.
4 for 3 right there, but Uzi is alive. His farm, his 313 CS is fighting back. How much can they take off this? Because Yellowstar cannot defend.
You mentioned this at the start. If Royal Club pick up a victory in one of those fights, keep that AD carry alive, they can turn and finish the game. Can they have enough to push through? There's going to be an inhibitor going down. You can see 10 seconds ticking down on this one. Royal Club 2-1 up. Can they make it 3?
They do not have enough time to finish off more than this one. They have the inhibitor. Now it's about retreating because Fnatic would love to get something back. Royal is not going to give them the opportunity.
That is a huge thorn in the side for Fnatic, considering the caliber of play both of these teams are bringing to the table.
And this was just the catch onto Cyanide. It did not matter if it was a tank because Peke was not there. And as soon as Royal didn't have to worry about that assassination threat, it allowed them to just turn on the power. White's used his ultimate on Uzi, which meant they both turned into kind of like 80 carries and just piled damage on Fnatic. Then they focused Peke laser-like, finished him off incredibly quickly, and then chased down Pushu.
If I was to be hypercritical there, I would say Soaz's ultimate, if he had gone horizontal instead of vertical,
it could have stopped the
been
approach.
A big difference. They couldn't have chased on through there, but it's all well and good saying that when you're looking at it at slow mode.
Right after.
Yeah. So big fight there, and already proven Royal managed to bite off one of those fights. They have it in them to push into Fnatic space. They have that first inhibitor down. Fnatic, they are going to be so cautious now. They've got to be careful they don't get picked off.
And Pushu has one slot here for his defensive item. He's decided on a Spectre's Cow, even though he's dueling Uzi very frequently, which means Fnatic needs to keep Uzi away from Pushu if Pushu wants to avoid being shot incredibly quickly. The same thing actually has to happen for Royal. Both those 80 carries will blow each other up because they're itemizing magic resistance.
And as we see that, The Merc Treads coming out onto Puju. It's been chosen for the Quicksilver Sash on Uzi's side there. We'll see how this affects the next fight as they prep.
And that split push has a monster wave. If Fnatic doesn't go in soon, they would lose close to inhibitor turrets. Peke has shown, which means Royal is in a great situation right now.
Peke is unsure what to do. He realized they were going to lose that inner turret, but they couldn't give up the Baron, which is potentially going to be what Royal started off. They could turn it into a 5v1. We're going to see Godlike. He's going to keep pushing.
The minions alone could maybe take down the inhibitor turret right now. Fnatic is in a terrible situation. They either have to go straight for Baron or go back and hope they can hold off a Baron 4v5.
This is all about Royal trying to get in the heads of Fnatic right now. Can they stop them from backing? Are they going to cause Fnatic to walk this one out? They will be losing an inhibitor turret if they can't get back. Peke is too far away here, but it looks like they stop it at half.
He's dancing back and forth right now. You cannot have Happy Feet in a situation like this. Fnatic needs to somehow hold this off 4v5. They get the Timbers out. Maybe Soaz could stop the Shen from coming in.
The top turret has already gone down. We see there's going to be the cat. The solar flare comes to White. White's up to use the intervention, and his Onya's actually so going down into one. So there's the intervention coming out, but the damage coming out from Pushu. Pushu with the ace in the hole. Goes down. Uzi banks straight on top of him. Meanwhile, this is all happening. Godlike will get taken down by Peke, but is it too late for Fnatic?
They're going to try to keep going. Lucky has the damage, but they are also very damaged themselves. If a re-entry comes in from Cyanide, it could be a fight. But Uzi, full health now, onto Soaz.
Whoa.
Soaz down to 10% HP, gets the Peacemaker, but it just misses the edge. It will be now an uncontested Baron, a very dead Cyanide. No, he makes it, but it is going to be the Baron taking down Lucky, and the Baron going to Uzi and Royal.
Absolutely insane sequence of events there. Peke had to make the choice to finish off Shen, but then the 4v4 went to Royal because the AD carry battle. Pushu versus Uzi. Pushu went down, Uzi did not. Uzi's actually the one who finished off the Baron in the end as he was playing defense against the entire Fnatic squad. That could be the break in the game. I feel like Royal might be back in control.
Tactical pressure positioning from Royal Gaming. Brilliant split push play, and the minions did take down that inhibitor turret, so bet your boots that Royal will be looking at that exposed inhibitor next around. Peke without his teleport, unsure in his positioning. Peke, the backdoor master, just got backdoored by Godlike, and they just weren't sure, and you talked about it. No time for Happy Feet. They were tippy-tapping back and forward. They did not know what to do, and that indecision cost them.
And seeing Royal play like this, I don't know the last time I've seen a gold lead almost exactly correct in a 12-kill deficit. 34-22, 8-6 in turrets, but the objective control, the CS control around the map, which actually almost isn't in their favor unless you're looking at Uzi, they've somehow even this game in gold being so far behind.
So let's take a step back and realize really where we are. So since Royal hasn't won a very clean team fight, they still have to deal with all 5 members of Fnatic. And the way Royal's actually been getting up in this game after they had fallen behind from Fnatic is by catching in one fight Sign out of position, and in the other one, forcing Fnatic into a very difficult choice and taking Peke out of the fight, who is so strong on Fizz. But now that Fnatic is so close together, since they're all turtled in their base, we'll get another 5v5. Royal does have the Baron buff, which gives them that stat advantage, but in all the 5v5s we saw previously, Fnatic was coming out on top. I do not expect Royal to wait very long. They do have Flash Tibbers on Tabe, and we've seen their Barons just crush in, but this is Fnatic's hold. They actually have a very good chance at pushing off with a team fight.
This could be the fight that puts Fnatic out of the Season 3 World Championships. Will Royal manage to get through to that finals? SK Telecom will be watching this with great eyes, making sure that this fight, if it happens, could be a big one. Tabe waiting to get that flash. Tibbers in, the solar flare comes out. There's going to be the equalizer.
They're sitting right behind the cupcakes. That cannot engage behind that. Taken out. Yellowstar goes too deep. They can't follow outside the base. Royal looks to take down the inhibitor. The Fnatic members stand in their way, but is it enough?
The cleanse coming out perfectly from Uzi, kept that Chung of Waters away from him, and Fnatic using all those ultimates and simply whiffing the lot of them.
Instead of waiting for Royal to go, Fnatic went themselves, and Royal for once plays defensive before they go, and they get 2 inhibitors out of that clean push.
Big advantage now for Royal Gaming. That Baron buff, it's still got 80 seconds on it, and they're waiting to try and dive on towards this one. Can they catch out anyone Fnatic? That's a good piercing arrow. It may make them think twice.
Fnatic is out of initiation aside from Cyanide's Cataclysm, so it is very difficult for them to push in. But a little bit of calm before the big storm. Royal takes away 2 inhibitors, and they'll look for a retreat push.
Royal has easily swung this back in their favor right now, in complete control in the minds of Fnatic, and you can see it coming into these fights. They cannot play their pick comp or even push comp right now, and Royal is knocking on the front door of this title game.
Those ultimates are almost up for Fnatic. You can see the equalizer, the solar flare, Yellow Star back up as well. It's a 5-man defense from Fnatic. Royal, while aggressive, I'm not sure they're going to quite push the gap there. The equalizer goes down. That surely signals Royal to go.
That equalizer was contingent on the Zenith Blade landing, and because it missed, Fnatic is all sorts of out of sync now. The worst thing about this is there are 2 waves of super minions arriving in Fnatic's base in about 15 to 20 seconds. That's going to time with Royal's next push, and Fnatic needs to pull off a miracle.
The agenda of things to do is heavily stacking against Fnatic right now. They got to multitask their way out of this one. Cyanide engages. The locket goes down. Expeke sits in this. They get to reset the fight. Reassemble. Will they be able to go in? Peke almost gets dropped, but he throws down Zonia's. Will he be able to hit Whites with a Q when he comes up? No, it's the taunt onto Peke. They continue on. They take down Uzi. Now Whites, maybe more.
That's the carries both down. Lucky's going to get focused on Godlike. Can't take the damage out here. But while this is happening, there's super minions on the Nexus turrets. Fnatic have to get back and defend. They're pinging it. They realize they're in trouble. They may lose the Nexus turrets despite the fight.
They do hold off them, and I think they have the time. Unless Pushu doesn't go back, they're only sending back Yellow Star for those Nexus turrets. Can Soaz hold it off as well? That could be the hold Fnatic needed.
They throw down the equalizer. The turrets will heal on the Nexus. They get this back. A 3-for-1 overall in that fight, as the death timers, you can see, very, very long. This last turret, that minion, he wanted that pretty bad. Wow. Good save there by Soaz.
The question is, can Fnatic get anything from this one? Fnatic, we see, running 2 members. They know they're in a 2v2 and they can rush. They want to get this inhibitor. You can see Fnatic, well, what else they're going to do? They're going around the back.
They really need an inhibitor back to curb the threat of the super minions, but Lucky is too powerful right now to actually allow this Fnatic push to happen.
Abe walking through a ward there. They know he's coming around. He's trying to actually cut them off a bit, and he puts down a ward for his own safety as he goes through the woods.
That was too dangerous a play. They know the Godlike's up in a couple of seconds. Uzi already up. Uzi the monster. But you did see, finally they got down the carries, and the rest of the team crumble. They have to focus Uzi so heavily, but he's got so much. He's got the cleanse, which is not available right now, but that QSS as well, and the flash still available. Didn't get to use it in the last fight.
It's so difficult for Fnatic to actually get Uzi down, because if they tip their hand and say they're going directly for Uzi, then Whites pops his intervention on him, he takes no damage, and Whites himself is nearly 2-shotting people. So they have to kind of fake an attack on someone first and then go for Uzi. It's why that last fight was so impressive for Fnatic in their victory, but now they have to do it again. They have to do it so many times if they actually want to win this game.
See what Fnatic can do with the amount of CS flying into their base right now. 289, near 300 coming onto Soaz. He is almost able to fight in these for an extended period of time, which really won them that last fight. We see near 350 coming in onto Peke. They can't stop that. Royal's going to be in some big trouble here in the upcoming minutes.
Big trouble indeed, and let's not forget the Guardian Angels that kind of saved Peke, made him get in there and get that damage down, is not available for this Baron fight. 20 seconds on the Baron. And I don't think Fnatic are even going to contest it.
I do feel like this is a somewhat uncontestable Baron, because if Fnatic tries to go into their jungle where they have not been allowed for the past 5 minutes, they are going in completely blind. Fnatic also lost their control when they got caught out of position by Tabe. Not to mention, Fnatic cannot risk letting super minions into their base. So this is a controlled Baron for Royal. It is a result of their work in the first 46 minutes, and now we're into the base defense again.
What a turnaround this game has been. Fnatic almost in full control. Turn around one big team fight. Simply put, Cyanide and Co, who's played amazingly well so far in this matchup, getting caught out along with Soaz. And just that one fight has turned this game on its head. And Royal Gaming are looking to push for this final inhibitor. The 2 inhibitors will be spawning soon. In fact, you can see the one at the bottom has spawned. The middle one will be up in a couple of seconds. Fnatic have to defend it.
And I wonder if we're going to see Fnatic hard initiating on Royal again. Uzi's cleanse just came back up. He also has the Mercurial Scimitar, so he's got double cleanse on a 400 CS max item Caitlyn right now. There's the threat. Tabe goes in this time.
This could be very
Soaz
big.
going to get focused. He's going to get caught out. Sorry, Chain of Corruption getting out though. Could they turn this one back around? Fizz does manage to get Whites down. They get on towards Tabe. Pekka using the Zonyas at the perfect time. Uzi's still alive.
Peke makes it out of that one. Lucky is there. The Baron buff is building them back up, but they got 2 60-minute timers down. Like I said, Fnatic is getting bigger.
They held them off right there. White's used his ultimate on a support, and it cost him his own life from there. Fnatic holds off once again. This is getting real interesting now.
Real interesting. We see Royal backing off. That was the Baron, by the way, on them there. And again, Fnatic hold. The Dragon will be picked up. The gold is still, ironically, in favor of Fnatic because those super minions keep getting shoved in towards them. They hold that 1,000 lead, but let's face it, it's 75,000 to 76,000. 1,000 gold's not really much of a difference because we've already got AD carries. They are on their 6-item builds. The AP mids are huge. 20,000 plus on both AD carries. That's huge!
Yeah, let's not forget we've seen 64 kills in this game so far. Fnatic is absolutely on their last breath, but they've been there a while, actually. They are just barely sticking around in this one. They've actually sacrificed, I feel, a bit of Soaz's itemization to pick up a pink ward instead of a more aggressive item because they're trying to get a little bit of map control back. If all Fnatic does is fight in their base over and over and over again, they're never going to win this game. They have to be able to take some control back. But that's not going to happen anytime soon. There's still a Baron on 3 people of Royal right now for another 100 seconds. They're going to make round 2 approach on these inhibitors, and Royal wants it. If Royal wins a fight, the game is over. If Fnatic wins a fight, it just keeps going and going.
We have the Guardian Angels starting to come out now. Peke
One
can
shot.
put forth a little bit more damage. Each one of these. Caitlyn ace in the holes with that Bloodthirster.
Yellow Star's around the side. He wants to initiate from behind.
Making a good case for the damage. The equalizer goes down.
They're locking on towards Uzi. Have they got enough? He's cleansed off 1, cleansed off 2, and still he's alive and doing all the damage he can in the world. Peke with the Zonius. Guardian Angel's going to get popped, but again, Uzi is free farming right now, locking up the entire team. That's a double kill for Uzi.
Royal is going to be walking their way into the base on this one. They have inhibitors in their eyes. They're going to have Nexus turrets in their eyes.
Boom! Headshot goes down. Push you taken out. That will be Royal Club surely in the driving seat. They're coming around. The inhibitors are going to go down. This will be surely 3-1 for Royal.
The Nexus turrets will be going down. Cyanide and Soaz to do what they can in the last effort. They fly onto Whites. They take down Whites. If they can get Uzi, they may get the damage out, but the DPS is still there, D-Man. They're moving on to the Nexus.
That was the big if, and they could not do it. Uzi is alive. Uzi is doing damage. It's Royal Club going through to the grand final against SK Telecom T1.
What a series there by Royal. There was a lot of close games there. And even though Fnatic laid many traps into the aggression of Royal, Royal just persisted. They got fight after fight. They continued their farm. 3-1 over Fnatic. Impressive showing.
So much strength. 12 kills down. Never giving up, continuously doing the same things, never forgetting to ward, never forgetting that an objective is important, and keeping a steady head all game. It's a victory, and it brings you to the title matchup for the Summoners Cup.
And you know, I talked to Cyanide on the couch during the group stage, and he said when he played against OMG and Royal Club, constant aggression. It puts you on the back foot the whole time, and they just did not have an answer for it throughout the whole game.
Yeah, and you could just see how practiced Royal Club was. And the crowd is behind him.
As Tabe giving a wave to the crowd, he has definitely gained some fans with his composure and just being the team leader of Royal.
I'm hoping he's going to sing a number for Shocks maybe on the stage. Who knows? We've already heard what a great voice the man has, so let's see.